Welcome to the Nova region. Hello everybody, my name is Sep, and in today's video we're going to make the fossil Pokemon for the Nova region. If we look at all the previous fossil Pokemon, I realize there's two dinosaurs that really deserve one that just haven't got a Pokemon yet. Those two dinosaurs are the Giganotosaurus and the Therizinosaurus. Now with all that covered, let's get into making the first fossil Pokemon, the Therizinosaurus. So I started off here just making some basic ideas of what I wanted to do, and I actually originally wanted the Therizinosaurus to be like a fire type. Eventually I switched that though, you'll see that later on in the video. I made the overall proportions at first of how I thought I wanted it to look. That also changes later in the video, and I added some designs. And what I like to do with these designs basically is I would make like my first draft of just the animal or object, and it's literally just the proportions I want it to be, and then I'll take the Pokemon's like attributes that I want, like spikes, feathers, leaves, whatever it is, and I'll add that next, and you can see it throughout the design, them getting removed and added. Like for example, the spikes on the Therizinosaurus were just like a random design to make the design look a little better. However, that eventually became the skull of the creature, which you're about to see here in a second. And also, it became like a forest spirit guardian mask thing as a skull, which actually, funny enough, came from me thinking of Avatar: The Last Airbender, the swamp bender that had all the vines in the show. He had like this wooden white mask that I thought looked really cool, and that's also where the vines on the horns come from. So yeah, I took inspiration from also the Dark Goblins a little bit. I really wanted that white face contrasting against the green body. And I really like getting at least one body part completely fleshed out. Like I did the head and neck here. Then the rest of the body will follow that. And I do that just so then I can make sure the main focus of the design is good, and the rest of the design will build off that. Here I'm just doing the shading for the body. It took me a while to get the proportions right on how I wanted the body to actually curve around. Then I had to add the legs here, which was a little bit of a guessing game on how I wanted the legs to protrude from the body while the legs are facing the opposite direction of your perspective, if that makes sense. So that was a little bit of a challenge, but the biggest challenge of this whole design was actually the claws. And I really wanted it to be one of the centerpieces of the design, because if anyone knows what a Therizinosaurus is, they know it by its claws, which could be like 3 feet long, I'm pretty sure. But because the actual body is facing away from us, I had trouble drawing the claws in a proportionate way to make it where it's actually a prominent part of the design. And so that was a little bit of a struggle for me, but I think I managed to do it pretty well by the end. And as a quick disclaimer, I really didn't have a plan going into this. I mean, it was supposed to be a fire type to start off with, and it ended up as, you know, this, whatever this monstrosity is. But yeah, I think the design came out pretty cool, and it's definitely different from a lot of the fossil Pokemon we have nowadays. So, let me introduce you to the one, the only, Eerizinos. Standing at 8'1", this is Eerizinos, the forest spirit Pokemon. It's a grass and ghost type that lived 66 million years ago. Pokentologists have recently discovered Eerizinos DNA and have brought the creature back to life. It is said that the length of the claws of the Eerizinos are unrivaled to that of any Pokemon to ever exist. It's also one of the strongest fossil Pokemon, at having a base stat total of 550, mainly specialized in its attack and speed. Its abilities are Harvest and Tough Claws because, well, I mean, it's a Therizinosaurus. Now the question is, how do we make the Giganotosaurus be a rival or a companion to the Eerizinos? So here I am again, working on the proportions for the next fossil Pokemon. This one is obviously based on the Giganotosaurus, so I started making some early designs that looked not like a Giganotosaurus, but it does get better later on. I really wanted to be different from a forest guardian type Pokemon, so with this Pokemon I figured, what if we made it so that it actually something that maybe cuts down the trees? Maybe it's what made Eerizinos go extinct. So this is a steel dragon type, and is actually based on an old Pokemon I made years ago when I wasn't as good as with concepts and just drawing in general. So it was really fun to go back and redesign this Pokemon I made years ago. And I really wanted this to be like a counteraction to the Forest Spirit Guardian Eerizinos. So it actually becomes a steel type because its tail is a sword and a shield that it uses to cut down trees. It doesn't like to be in like too crowded of an environment, so it will knock down anything in its way. Also, the tip of its tail, the way that it's like curved like that, is also based on Avatar: The Last Airbender, on Sokka's boomerang, which is just like a random thing. It's just there's just random Avatar references you're gonna find in here. Apparently, I don't really know either. But yeah, the design is getting fleshed out here. I'm doing all the shading, and the whites and grays look pretty good. And it's definitely a lot more of a singular color compared to Eerizinos. But I think this is a good contrast, and it still looks as strong as Eerizinos, if not maybe a little bit stronger. So let me introduce you to Gigos. Standing at 8'5", Gigos is the Iron Tail Pokemon, a Steel and Dragon type. This creature lived 95 million years ago. Pokentologists have recently discovered Gigos DNA and have brought the creature back to life. It has a tail that is bulky to defend itself while also being sharp to deal life-threatening damage to any enemy. It has the abilities Anger Point and Heavy Metal, and again, just like Eerizinos, has a base stat total of 550. Unlike Eerizinos, its defense stat is its specialized stat. I can also imagine with the weight of 105 pounds and with the ability Heavy Metal, this thing is going to be a beast when using Heavy Slam. So, how did you guys like those Pokemon? Tell me in the comments down below. Also make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And a quick message before this video ends, I want to tell you that if you haven't already, start to follow Jesus Christ. It will change your life for the better. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.